So, are you ready for the real talk? No sugarcoating, no comforting lies, just raw, unfiltered truth. And yes, this is going to sting, but trust me, it's exactly what you need to hear. And let me be clear, only we, the powerful Stoic Habits community, have the guts to tell you the truth. Others are too scared to say it. We're not here to feed you fantasy. We're here to wake you up. And still, if you don't hit that like button under this video, then you're not just ignoring us, you're ignoring your own reality, because what we're about to share will challenge everything you've been conditioned to believe about love, silence, and your worth. This isn't just another self-help pep talk. This is a wake-up call. Ready? Let's get into it. Remember those times when they ignored your texts, took days or even weeks to respond? The endless waiting, the anxiety eating away at your mind, wondering what you did wrong. Remember when they ghosted you, leaving you in the dark without closure or explanation? That wasn't an accident. It wasn't a slip-up or bad timing. They were sending you a message loud and clear. You are not a priority. They didn't care then, and they don't care now. They already have a life they enjoy, a life that doesn't include you. And here's the hardest part. You're scared they'll forget you, aren't you? That they'll move on, and you'll become nothing but a distant memory. But here's the brutal truth. They didn't forget you. They chose to live without you. Let that sink in. They're out there thriving, living their best life while you're stuck, imagining it's all some mask they wear, a carefully crafted filter for the world to see. But tell me this, why would they need a mask for you? They've already been clear, you don't matter to them. They've shown you exactly where you stand, nowhere. And now, here you are, still holding on, thinking, hoping, maybe if I go silent, maybe they'll notice, maybe they'll miss me. Wake up. Silence only works if there's something in their heart for you. And here's the hardest pill to swallow. They don't. Not a shred, not a spark. Society tells you that if you go silent, they'll miss you, that they'll suddenly feel the void you left behind, realize what they've lost, and come running back. But here's what society doesn't tell you. They were living without you long before you even realized it. Your silence, it's not shaking their world. It's not making them miss you. The only person suffering in this silence is you. And let me tell you this, silence is not a weapon. Stop using silence as a way to manipulate their emotions. Stop expecting your absence to be louder than their indifference. Use silence for yourself. Let silence be your shield. Because true power isn't about making them feel anything, it's about making you feel whole again. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence should be about self-respect, about reclaiming your dignity, not about playing mind games. You don't need them to miss you. You need to miss yourself, the version of you that didn't depend on anyone else's validation. And you know what happens when you let go? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're holding on to a rope, pulling with all your strength, while the other person isn't even holding the other end. You're gripping, straining, bleeding, and for what? You're fighting for something they've already let go of. Now imagine what would happen if you released that rope. The tension disappears, the pain stops. That's what happens when you let go. When you stop using silence as a tool to manipulate them and start using it to heal yourself. Say it out loud and clear. In fact, drop it in the comments. I'm done. Say it with conviction. Say it like you mean it, because you do. You're done being small. You're done being someone's afterthought. You're done being treated like you're disposable, like you're something they can pick up and put down whenever they please. You're done waiting for calls that never come. Done checking your phone like your existence depends on a notification. Done hoping they'll suddenly realize your worth when they couldn't be bothered to care when you were giving them everything. You've bent, you've broken, and you've tried, but not anymore. This isn't about playing games. It's not about making them miss you. It's about reclaiming your power. You're done sacrificing your self-worth for crumbs of attention. You're done settling for love that's conditional and fleeting. You're done shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's limited version of what you should be. So go ahead, show me your brave side. Write it in the comments for all to see, for yourself to see. I'm done. Let it be a declaration, not just words, but a promise to yourself. Feel that power rising inside you. That's the moment you've been waiting for. That's you waking up. Now, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Not because we're asking, but because the power you're feeling inside owes you something. It owes you action. And that action starts with one simple task: hitting that button. Help spread this message to more people out there, people who need this truth, just like you did. Be the reason someone finds their strength today. Let's rise together. And hey, we're not done yet. You've woken up, but what comes next? That's what really matters. Because let me be very real with you. It's not going to be easy. This is where the real journey begins. The doubts will creep in, the past will try to pull you back, and the urge to break your silence will hit harder than ever. But stay with me. This is just the beginning. You're stepping into a new version of yourself, stronger, wiser, and untouchable. No more chasing, no more begging, no more waiting. We're just getting started. Let's rise together. Number 1, stop watering dead plants. So folks, let's talk about something that's holding you back. Watering dead plants. You've been pouring your energy, time, and love into something that's long gone, hoping it will bloom again. But here's the truth. No amount of care can bring a withered relationship back to life if the roots were already rotten. You can't revive something that was dead long before you even realized it. Let that sink in. You've been standing in the same barren field, holding a watering can filled with hope, thinking maybe if I try harder, love deeper, wait longer, they'll change. But they won't. They never intended to. You're nurturing something that's incapable of growth. Stop it. You're wasting what's precious, yourself. Think of a flower in a cracked vase. It might look beautiful for a while, but no matter how much water you pour, the cracks will keep draining everything you give. That's what it's like when you keep investing in someone who doesn't care, someone who only takes but never gives. You keep pouring from your heart, hoping your love will be enough to fill the emptiness inside them, but you can't heal someone who refuses to grow. It's not your job to fix people. Stop playing the role of the savior in someone else's emotional chaos. You are not a gardener for someone's neglected soul. They should have tended to their own heart before expecting you to fix the mess they created. Stop chasing potential. They might have been beautiful in your mind, but in reality, they've shown you exactly who they are. Detached, careless, indifferent. Leave them. The first time. As Rumi said, don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day, your pain will become your cure. Let the hurt remind you that you've outgrown this season. You've outgrown people who make you question your worth, who make you feel like you're hard to love. They were never your responsibility to fix. Think about this. Ever seen a tree shed its leaves in autumn? It doesn't cling to what's dying. It lets go, trusting that spring will bring new growth. You're stuck in emotional autumn, desperately holding on to dead leaves when your spring is waiting. But it can't come while your hands are still full of old, lifeless branches. Stop watering what's already gone. Stop begging for love that should be freely given. You shouldn't have to work so hard for someone to choose you, appreciate you, or see your worth. Love isn't earned, it's shared. If they couldn't see your value when you were giving them your best, they never will. As Maya Angelou said, never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. You've been an option for too long. Stop letting them treat you like a backup plan, something they can come back to when they feel lonely or bored. You deserve consistency, not convenience. You deserve someone who shows up without you having to beg for it. And if you're thinking, but what if they change? Stop. People don't change because you love them harder. They change because they choose to grow. You can't force someone to care. You can't beg someone to stay. Love that requires chasing isn't love, it's suffering. So let it go. Drop the watering can. Walk away from the barren garden that never nourished you. Save your love for something that will bloom back. Save your energy for a life that thrives, one where you're nurtured, seen, and valued. You are worthy of being chosen every single day. Don't settle for being someone's temporary comfort. Be the one they regret losing. Be the one who rises. Walk away without looking back. Say it out loud. I deserve more. Drop it in the comments. Own it. Live it. Let today be the day you stop watering dead plants and start watering yourself. Let's rise together. Number 2. The real reason they don't miss you. Imagine you're standing on the shore, throwing messages in bottles into the ocean, pleas for love, attention, and understanding. You wait, hoping against hope that one day one of those bottles will be found. But here's the truth you refuse to face. They were never on the other side. They were never searching, never waiting, never hoping like you. You're throwing bottles into a vast, empty sea that never cared whether you existed in the first place. That's the real reason they don't miss you. It's not because you weren't enough. It's not because you didn't love them the right way. It's because they never valued you to begin with. You were invested, but they were just passing through. They took what they needed, and when they were done, they left without looking back. No second thoughts, no regrets. They didn't even check to see if you were okay, because you were never a part of their future. And that's what hurts the most, doesn't it? You thought your love had built something lasting. You thought your presence would be unforgettable. You believed that deep down you mattered. But the harsh truth is, you were just convenient. Someone they used to fill the empty spaces in their life until something better came along. Listen closely. People don't miss what they took for granted. They don't miss what they never respected. They don't miss the warmth they assumed would always be there. They only miss something when it's rare, when it's irreplaceable, and to them, you were neither. They didn't see your worth because they were never looking for it. They weren't searching for someone to cherish. They were searching for someone to use. Stop lying to yourself. Stop thinking your silence is creating some grand, aching void in their life. Stop imagining them lying awake at night, haunted by memories of you. They're not. They've moved on without a second thought, living life like you were never part of their story. Why? Because they never emotionally invested. You did. You built castles in your mind while they were just visiting for the weekend. You cared deeply, but they never truly connected. You were playing for keeps while they were just playing. You see, love isn't about effort alone. You can give everything, your time, your patience, your loyalty, but if the other person doesn't care, none of it will ever be enough. You could have been perfect, But perfect doesn't matter when the person you're giving yourself to is emotionally bankrupt. They're incapable of valuing something they don't even know how to appreciate. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You've been reacting by holding on, by wondering when they'll miss you, by staying emotionally trapped in a past they've already forgotten. But you have a choice. Stop reacting. Start reclaiming. Here's another truth. They'll only miss you when life hits them hard, when their next adventure doesn't go as planned, when they realize that fleeting connections can't replace genuine love, loyalty, and care. But by the time they come back around, looking for the warmth they once took for granted, you'll be long gone. Stop being there just in case. You're not someone's backup plan, their emotional safety net, or their fallback option. You are the prize, but they'll never see it if you keep hanging around, waiting for recognition. People only value what they lose, not what they assume will always be there. So disappear, not to make them miss you, but to make yourself free. You've been holding space in your heart for someone who doesn't even realize they left. You've been playing a game where only you're keeping score. It's time to stop waiting for them to feel your absence. They won't. And even if they do one day, so what? Their regret isn't your reward. Their missing you won't fix the past. It won't erase the nights you spent crying, the messages you sent that went unanswered, the love you gave that was never returned. So what's next? You let it burn. Burn the idea that your love was wasted. It wasn't. You learned. Burn the hope that they'll ever wake up and realize what they lost. You rise. Burn the fantasy that their absence is a wound that needs healing. You heal yourself. Stop throwing bottles into an empty sea. Stop expecting closure from someone who's already forgotten you. Stop imagining a reunion that will never happen. They don't miss you, but you will miss yourself if you keep living like this. Say it out loud. I deserve better. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a declaration. Let today be the day you stop wishing for their regret and start living your truth. Let's rise together. Number 3, what silence creates for you. So folks, let's break those lies you've been feeding yourself. Silence isn't about them. It never was. You've been told that going silent will make them miss you, regret losing you, or wake up to your worth. Lies. Society wrapped that fantasy in pretty words and sold it to you as a strategy. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't create a void in their life. It creates power in yours. Silence isn't a weapon. It's a rebuild. It's the wrecking ball that smashes every illusion you clung to. It tears down the false hope, the desperate waiting, and the endless cycle of wishing they'd come back. Your silence isn't about making them notice your absence. It's about forcing yourself to face the truth that you were worth more than waiting around. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And your thoughts, they've been painted with neediness, attachment, and false hope for too long. Silence strips that away, leaving you with something terrifying yet powerful, yourself. At first, silence feels like death, doesn't it? Like you're disappearing from their world. But that's because you're still seeing silence as punishment, as if being forgotten by them means you're nothing. But here's the shift. Silence isn't about being erased. It's about being reborn. It's the space where you finally stop begging for answers that will never come and start answering yourself. Silence creates clarity. It forces you to confront the uncomfortable reality you've been running from, that your worth never depended on someone else recognizing it. that being loved by them wasn't the prize. You are the prize. They just never deserved it. Think about this. Have you ever seen what happens when the noise dies down after a storm? The sky is clear, the air sharpens, and everything feels more alive. That's what silence does for you. It clears the emotional clutter, sharpens your perspective, and brings you back to yourself. But only if you let it. Stop using silence as a trap, some desperate ploy to make them miss you. Use it as a mirror. Look at yourself. Look at what you tolerated, what you accepted, what you lost in the process of chasing someone who couldn't even bother to stay. Face it. Own it. Change it. Silence creates strength. It builds resilience, discipline, and emotional armor. Every day you stay silent, you reclaim a piece of yourself you thought you'd lost. Every unanswered message is a step back toward freedom. Every moment you don't break, you become stronger than the version of you who thought love meant chasing, begging, and settling for crumbs. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. They were always beyond your control, but you aren't. You control how much space they take up in your heart. You control how much more of your life you let them steal. Silence creates freedom, but only if you let it. Silence creates self-respect. It draws a line between who you were when you needed them and who you're becoming without them. Every time you choose silence, you're saying, I refuse to chase someone who doesn't value me. You're showing yourself that you are enough without their validation, without their attention, without their approval. And guess what? Eventually, they will notice. Not because you played some clever game, but because they'll see the one thing they never expected, you moving on without them. They'll realize that the person they thought would always be there isn't waiting anymore. But by the time they notice, you won't care. They'll be looking for the old version of you, the one who waited, who hoped, who broke. But that person doesn't exist anymore. Silence has already built someone new, someone stronger, someone untouchable. So stop fearing silence. Stop seeing it as punishment. See it for what it truly is, transformation. It's the bridge from who you were with them to who you're meant to become without them. Don't break your silence. Break free. Say it out loud. I choose myself. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a declaration. Today, silence stops being your prison and becomes your power. Number 4, build an empire, not expectations. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, staring at the horizon, expecting a bridge to appear out of thin air. You believe if you wait long enough, if you hope hard enough, something will materialize and connect you to the other side. But that bridge never comes. That's what living with expectations is like, a dangerous gamble on something you can't control, leaving you stranded in disappointment. Expectations break hearts. They lure you into a false sense of security, only to collapse when reality doesn't match the fantasy you built in your head. You expected them to care. You expected them to show up when you needed them. You expected them to realize your worth, to love you back the way you loved them. But here's the brutal truth. Expectations are premeditated resentment. The higher you build them, the harder you fall. And when they don't meet those expectations, it feels personal, like a direct attack on your value. But it's not. It's a reflection of who they are, not of what you deserve. So stop building expectations. Start building something that can't be taken away, an empire. An empire where you reign over your own life, where your happiness isn't held hostage by someone's inconsistent behavior or lack of appreciation. Take the throne back. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The only thing you can truly control is yourself, your actions, your reactions, and the energy you choose to give. Expecting someone else to fix your broken pieces is like waiting for rain in a drought, futile and soul-crushing. Building an empire means becoming so rooted in your self-worth that even if someone leaves, even if life crumbles around you, you stand unshaken. You stop looking for validation from others because you've built an internal foundation that can't be shattered. You are the architect of your life. Start acting like it. Let's be real. You've wasted enough time waiting for closure, for apologies, for someone to change. But waiting is passive. Building is active. You don't wait for a throne. You build one brick by brick. Your goals, they're the foundation. Your mindset, that's the fortress. Your resilience, that's the crown no one can take. Think of the people you admired growing up. Did they get where they are by waiting for someone to save them? No. They built their lives with grit and determination, not expectations. As the saying goes, hope is not a strategy. You can hope for love, for success, for happiness, but hope alone won't build anything. Action will. Stop expecting someone to see your potential. See it yourself. Stop expecting closure. Give it to yourself. Stop expecting them to regret losing you. Make them irrelevant. There's power in creating a life so full, so rich with purpose, that even your past self wouldn't recognize you. Set unshakable goals. Define what success, love, and happiness look like on your terms, not based on what society says, but what you know in your soul. Create a non-negotiable standard. What you tolerate sets the tone for your life. Raise the bar. Anyone who can't meet it gets left behind. No exceptions. Invest in growth, not validation. Learn, improve, expand. Feed your mind and your soul, not your need for approval. The more you grow, the less you need anyone else's recognition. Be ruthlessly consistent. An empire isn't built overnight. It takes consistency. Show up for yourself every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. Guard your energy like royal treasure. Not everyone deserves access to you. Protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. Rewrite the story. You're not a victim of your past. You're the hero of your future. Act like it. No more excuses. No more waiting for someone else to change the ending. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Stop wanting people to act right. Stop wanting closure. Stop wanting someone to complete you. Complete yourself. The less you expect from others, the more power you gain over your life. You've spent long enough building sandcastles in other people's worlds, only to watch the tide of their indifference wash them away. Now it's time to build something permanent, unshakable, untouchable. When they see you again, they shouldn't recognize you. They shouldn't see the person who begged, who waited, who cried for their love. They should see a ruler, a conqueror of life, someone they can no longer reach because you're on another level now. Say it out loud. I build my empire. Drop it in the comments. Claim it. Live it. Own it. Let's rise together. Number 5. When they notice you're gone, know it's not out of love. Don't fool yourself. We've already talked about this. They were never interested in you, not in the way you hoped, not in the way you deserved. So when they finally notice you're gone, don't mistake it for love or regret. It's not a sudden realization that they care. It's just inconvenience. They notice your absence because the comfort is gone. You were easy access, a guaranteed source of validation, attention, and emotional support. They miss what you did for them, not you. They miss being chased. They miss being wanted without having to give anything back. Think of it like losing a favorite jacket. They didn't care when they threw it on the floor, left it wrinkled, and forgot it existed. But now, on a cold, lonely day, they're searching for warmth, and suddenly they miss that jacket. Not because they love it, but because they're uncomfortable without it. This isn't love, it's emptiness. Their life didn't get worse because you left it. It just got less convenient. You were their backup plan, their safety net, and now you're gone. They're not hurting because they lost you. They're panicking because they lost control. As Epictetus said, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them. They're suffering because they assumed you'd always be there. You were predictable, reliable, and they never thought you'd leave. They lived comfortably with the belief that they could pick you back up whenever they wanted, like a book left unread on a dusty shelf. But now the shelf is empty. Empty. And here's the part they didn't see coming. You're not coming back. They'll send a text, "Hey, been thinking about you." They'll throw out casual messages like fishing lines, hoping you'll still be hooked. They'll act like they're checking in, pretending they care. But it's not love, it's control. Let me be very clear. If they truly cared, they wouldn't have let you break while they watched. They wouldn't have ignored your calls, dismissed your efforts, or made you feel like you were too much while you were trying your hardest. People who care don't gamble with your heart. So why now? Why do they notice when it's too late? Because your silence created something they can't stand. Emptiness. They lost their comfort zone, their emotional safety net, the person who cared even when they didn't deserve it. But here's the twist. Their realization is useless. By the time they wake up, you're already free. You've done the hard work. You've faced the silence, broken through the pain, and become someone they no longer recognize. And when they finally notice you're gone, don't be fooled. They're not coming back because they've changed. They haven't. They're coming back because you did. Because the old version of you, the one they could manipulate, guilt trip, and breadcrumb, is gone. As Rumi said, don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure. Your absence is their wake-up call, but their regret isn't your responsibility. Their emptiness isn't your problem. Their sudden realization means nothing. When they notice you're gone, let them notice. Let them live with the void they created by treating you like you were replaceable. Let them wrestle with regret while you thrive in the life you built without them. You're done waiting, done hoping, done needing validation from someone who only cared when it was too late. So say it out loud. I'm never going back. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a promise. Because when they finally notice, you'll be long gone. Number 6. Become the storm they can't weather. So folks, enough with the waiting. Enough with hoping they'll notice, miss you, or come crawling back. It's time to stop being the quiet breeze they ignored and become the storm they can't escape. You're done being soft, done holding back, done shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's small world. Become the storm, not for them, but for you. The best revenge isn't making them miss you. It's making your old self unrecognizable. Be the force they never saw coming. They thought you'd fade into the background, disappear into the shadows of their indifference. They thought you'd wait forever. But storms don't wait. They strike. As Nietzsche said, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every time you begged the universe for a different ending, those were your storm clouds gathering. You weren't breaking, you were building. Now it's time to unleash. Stop chasing, stop waiting, stop explaining. Your silence wasn't just a pause, it was the calm before the storm. The world is full of people like them. users, takers, manipulators, but the world is also full of opportunity, power, and purpose. The question is, which side are you going to stand on? The side that crumbles or the side that rises? Be relentless. Build yourself into someone who doesn't need validation. Chase your goals with the same intensity you once chased their attention. Turn that desperation into determination. Take everything they thought they destroyed and rebuild yourself stronger. They expect you to stay broken. They expect you to stay quiet. They expect you to still be waiting by the phone. Prove them wrong, not with words, not with some emotional text or social media post, but with your actions. Build a life so powerful, so untouchable, that even if they come back, they'll find no place in it. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Don't become bitter. Become better. Your success, your growth, your happiness, those are the thunderclaps they all hear long after you've moved on. And remember, storms don't apologize for being fierce, for shaking things up, for demanding change. Neither should you. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected. You're here to thrive. They can't weather the storm you're coming because they never thought you could be this strong, this resilient, this unstoppable. They underestimated you, and now it's too late. So rise, build, conquer. Be the storm that shatters expectations and reclaims your life. Say it out loud. I am the storm. Drop it in the comments, not as a hope, but as a statement of fact. You're done being overlooked. You are the storm they can't weather. Number 7, moving forward with unshakable strength. So folks, here you are. You've faced the truth. You've endured the silence, burned the bridges, and shattered the chains that kept you trapped in the past. But let me be very real with you. This isn't the finish line. This isn't where the journey ends. This is where it begins. Because breaking free is one thing, but staying free, moving forward, building an unshakable life, that's the real challenge. It's easy to feel strong when you're fired up, full of emotion, ready to take on the world. But strength isn't about a single moment of defiance. It's about consistency, resilience, and grit. You don't stop when you're done with them. You stop when you're done with the old version of yourself. Moving forward isn't about forgetting your past or erasing the hurt. It's about using that pain as fuel for your growth. It's about turning the lessons into action and building a future that's unshakable. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. That friction, that struggle you faced, that was the polishing, that was the grind, that was your transformation. You're not the same person you were yesterday, and that's the most beautiful part. The old you wanted answers, closure, validation. The new you doesn't need any of that. The new you is on a mission to build, to grow, to evolve, to become the person you were always meant to be. But here's the catch. You can't move forward if you keep looking back. Every time you revisit the past, every time you let them back in, you weaken your foundation. Stop letting them live rent-free in your mind. They don't deserve that kind of power. And remember this, moving forward isn't linear. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt, of weakness. But that's okay. Every setback is just another lesson, another opportunity to prove to yourself how strong you really are. So let them go. Let them fade into the background and let yourself rise. Because you are stronger now than you've ever been. And this is just the beginning. Say it out loud. I'm moving forward. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a declaration. You're not looking back anymore. You're moving forward with unshakable strength. Number 8. Don't chase the past. You've got dreams. You've got goals. You've got a future that's waiting for you. But here's the thing. You can't chase the past and build a future at the same time. When you're constantly looking back, longing for what you had, or wishing you could go back to how things were, you're holding yourself back from what you could be. The past is like a weight around your ankles, dragging you down. The more you cling to it, the less energy you have to move forward. So let go. Let go of the people who don't see your worth. Let go of the places that remind you of pain. Let go of the memories that haunt you, the ones that keep you stuck in what could have been. It's time to move forward. Your future is waiting for you, but you can't reach it if your eyes are glued to the rearview mirror. The people you left behind, the ones who didn't value you, let them stay there. They're part of your past, not your future. As you move forward, you'll find new people, new experiences, and new opportunities. The life you dream of is out there, but it's only going to come to you when you stop chasing what's already gone. You don't need them to validate your progress. You don't need their approval. You're doing this for you, for your growth, for your future. And when they see you thriving, when they see the life you've built without them, that's when they'll realize what they've lost. But by then, it won't matter. You've already moved on. You've already built the life you deserve. So say it out loud. I'm not chasing the past. Drop it in the comments, not as a hope, but as a declaration. You're moving forward with confidence, and the past is no longer your focus. It's time to build a future that reflects your worth.